Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Gwei Refuel, where I recap the latest news in the Ethereum ecosystem. I'm your host, Anthony Sassano, and today's the 29th of February, 2024. Alright everyone, let's get into it. So the 29th of February, it is a leap year. It's the longest February that we're going to have for another 4 years. I have something cool to actually say about that in a sec, but first off, just wanted to say that you guys know I went to that meetup in Melbourne tonight at Upside here. Had a lot of fun, was on a panel talking about Farcaster and just consumer crypto generally. You can see a picture here of me and my co-panelists, and I'm the host of the panel on the right-hand side there. It was a lot of fun. Obviously, got to speak to a lot of people about crypto. The spirits were high because of the fact that the markets are up and everything like that. But I always have a good time at the Upside meetup. So again, kudos to Greg and Kyle, who are the host of the meetup and basically run Upside. They're always champions. They always run a good meetup. They provide the pizza, they provide the drinks, and everyone's kind of happy, especially when the market's going up as well. But yeah, looking forward to the next event there at Upside. But I'm charged, guys, today. I'm very charged, obviously, not just because of the meetup, but because of the markets as well. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about the markets because I think it's very relevant right now, and I haven't spoken about them properly in a little while still. What I want to speak about is a couple of things. First, ETF. Second, why the 4-year cycle is actually totally dead now. And third, nice little thing got to do with the date February 29th, but I'll just tease that and I'll tell you guys about that in a sec. So first off, we have an update here on the inflows into BTC ETFs. James Seifert here said, we have a new record inflow for the Kentucky Derby Bitcoin ETFs. IBIT, which is BlackRock's ETF, took in a record $612 million on its own. On a net basis, the group took in $673 million. This beats the day one record of $655 million. And they're still waiting on BTCO here. And IBIT, or BlackRock's ETF, crossed $9 billion in assets on its own. So more than $10 billion is in these things after 7 weeks. And I think this officially makes the BTC ETFs some of, if not the greatest ETF launches in history, which has blown all of everyone's expectations completely out of the water and is obviously reflected in the price. I mean, BTC is at around 63K at time of recording. That is literally a sneeze away from all-time high. All-time high is around 69,000. I think. I actually think the all-time high is 69,420. Like literally a meme. But hey, that's the all-time high there. And that could literally happen within like a week or within a week or two. And it's actually kind of crazy to think about, because that brings me to the next thing I wanted to talk about, which was what I've mentioned on the Refuel a lot of times actually, is that I now believe, I'm pretty much like 100% believe this now, that the 4-year crypto cycle is completely dead. I know I said last time, maybe a couple months ago, that I was pretty much like of the opinion that it was dead, but like I needed to see some more confirmation. Well, I think the fact that we're so close to all-time high on BTC and ETH obviously, has a ways to go still, but not that much. I mean, ETH all-time high is what, 4,850 or 4,900 or something like that. ETH's at 3,600 almost, I think. What is it? 3,475. I'm getting ahead of myself, but still, not too far away. Not exactly a sneeze, maybe 2 or 3 sneezes, but we all know ETH's gone all-time high after BTC, of course. But yeah, because of that, the 4-year cycle is well and truly dead. In all of Bitcoin's history, it has never gone to an all-time high before its halvening, and it'd always take at least 6 months after the halvening for Bitcoin to really get going. Guys, the halvening is in April, and we are on the cusp of all-time high in February. Like, it's not even close. I mean, yeah, okay, it's 2 months or less than 2 months, but still, it's not like we're like a week out or anything like that. We are just completely accelerated from where we should be if we were following the 4-year cycle. So the 4-year cycle, in my mind, is dead. And I actually think that there's good arguments to be made that it died last cycle because we had a shorter cycle. Like, you guys have heard me say this before, but last cycle, I believed that the actual top was May 2021, not November 2021. And the reason I believed that was because if you look at pretty much every metric except price, it topped in May 2021. And price went up again, obviously, through to November 2021, and BTC and ETH set new all-time highs back then. But that was driven by a lot of leverage and a lot of fraud. Like, it was basically a fake pump, honestly. It was basically the people who believed in the super cycle kind of willing it into existence, like Suzu and 3 Arrows Capital. And then obviously we had the whole Terra thing and SBF and all of those people that blew themselves up, of course. But now we're on the cusp of a BTC all-time high before the halvening. And if you do an equivalent kind of analysis here, based on the 4-year cycle, we're in February 2020 or February 2016. February 2016, BTC was nowhere near all-time high. It was nowhere near its, what is it, $1,200 back then. February 2020, it was nowhere near 20K. Like, it had gone up a bit, but it wasn't close to hitting it. And then obviously we had the COVID dump, of course. But yeah, I mean, I just generally think that the 4-year cycle is dead now. And whether this is a good or bad thing, we'll have to see. Like, I don't think it's actually like something that's good or bad, so to speak. I think it's maybe like a reflection of the maturation of the crypto market generally. So I think that when you look at the crypto market and what money it's had access to traditionally, it's been, normal retail investors and then some of the kind of like, VC money and bigger institutional players, some of them in limited fashion, but it's never had access to the biggest pool of money, which is the US kind of TradFi market, the market that has the ETFs in them, the old money, as we say, right? That money's been locked away and hasn't really kind of speculated on crypto. But now that it is here, now that it's kind of coming, I think that when you kind of look at this and when you kind of take it all together, you could kind of see that it makes sense for the 4-year cycle to no longer play out because the asset class has matured. Now, does me saying this mean that we're never going to have like another bear market? No, not at all. Like, please do not start thinking that. I think I warned about this a while ago, that during these environments where it's really bullish, you start basically thinking that there isn't going to be another bear market, that it's going to be a super cycle, that's going to be up only. Please don't think that, guys. Yes, we're probably going to go up, still away from here because it's just still the kind of start. Not start, but like probably like moving into the mid of the bull market. But it's not going to be up only. It's not going to go up forever. The ETFs aren't some kind of like infinite money kind of machine. The ETFs can obviously be sold as well. It's not like they're just going to be bought and locked. Yes, it's a different kind of money than what we're traditionally used to, but market cycles still exist regardless, and it's still going to play out. But then it also begs the question of, okay, well, how long is the bear market going to be? Like, how deep is the bear market going to be for BTC and ETH? Like, everything I'm saying here really just applies to BTC and ETH. I think that for the other assets, they're going to do the same thing they've always done, because those assets are not really getting touched by any of this new money because they don't have ETFs, right? They're getting touched by people that made money on BTC and ETH rotating in, and also all the new retail people that are going to come in, obviously. But it's going to be a different pool of money. So because of that, I suspect they will still act the same, where they go up a lot in the bull market and then they just nuke 95+% in a bear market, right? And I think that's just the nature of things, especially when it comes to the super speculative stuff like meme coins. So keep that in mind, guys, especially if you're going down the risk curve. But when it comes to BTC and ETH, like, the 4-year cycle's dead. They're maturing as assets. ETH doesn't have an ETF yet, but it will soon, obviously. And they have a different pool of money that's going to be in and out of them at different times. And they've got that kind of like, I guess, constant flow with the ETFs. So when I take all that and I look at all that, I get excited, but I also get a little bit, I don't know if I'd call it scared, but like maybe frustrated, because I said here on my tweet, the game is forever changed now. Like, my typical way of monitoring and working the markets has been going loosely off that 4-year cycle. But now I don't think you can use that, because if you were using the 4-year cycle, like, that would mean that we're going to top in like a few months or something. Maybe we do top in a few months, right? But hey, who knows? Maybe we don't top till next year or something. Like, we don't know. That's the problem now. It's like the game has changed. The rules have changed. The underlying rules of there being bull and bear markets hasn't changed, but the timing has changed here. The ability to time based on the 4-year cycle has changed. So for me personally, I think that we're going to have like a really strong bull market because we've got this money, we've got like a lot of FOMO coming in. But then after that, I don't know. I don't know where we go from there. I don't think anyone can tell you where we go from there. I don't know how badly ETH and BTC are going to go down and bottom. Like, I don't know where they're going to bottom next time. I don't know. What's going to happen to the long tail of assets? Like, not with 100% certainty. I mean, I'm pretty confident they're going to get destroyed like they always do, because they don't have access to that same pool of capital. But again, like, I can't guarantee that. So it's going to be harder, I think, going forward to play this game. Yes, things are good now, and you can probably buy anything and make money right now if you sell at the right time, of course. But yeah, I think things going forward are going to be harder to predict here, and the game has changed. Like, we've had that game since Bitcoin came around in 2009 till basically 2024. We had 15 years of it. It was a good run, but yeah, it's definitely changed now. But anyway, enough on that. Just one last thing on the markets before I move on. I put out this tweet in February 29th, 2020, where I said, The ETH price on February 29th, 2016 was $6. ETH's price on Feb 29th, 2020 was $224. The next time Feb 29th comes around, it'll be the year 2024, obviously today. What will the price of ETH be then? And my target was moon. I didn't put a number target on it. I honestly had no idea. And I have been waiting a long time to post this. I posted it on Twitter, of course, but I've been waiting a very long time to post this. I've been super excited to post it, not because of the fact that it's great to see that ETH is like almost 16 times higher than it was over that 4-year period from back then, but if you look at the reply that I got from Eric, you guys know Eric, the guy that I do the drive-through with, my friend that I did ETH Hub with, so Eric Connor, you can see here that his target was $3,000. We're at 3,500, guys. Like, okay, he didn't get it exactly, but holy shit. Like, like this is 4 years ago he called this. And like, I'm convinced there's a time travel at this point. This is not the first time he's done this. I think I mentioned this on a refuel that he has an uncanny ability to pick market tops and bottoms and kind of prices at different places. I don't know how he does it. I'm actually curious to see if his ability, it works going forward because the 4-year cycle has changed. But I don't think he's ever actually looked at the 4-year cycle for this. But it's just crazy how close he got there. But yeah, as I said, I've been waiting a long ass time to post this. It's been 4 years since I put the tweet out. I think I saw this again in 2021. I put a reminder on my phone and it came up today. I kind of forgot about it. And I'm like, oh shit, like it's been 4 years. Yes, I can finally post this. So yeah, I don't know. I'm very excited today, guys. Very giddy today for a number of different reasons. But yeah, enough on the market stuff. Moving on to something else that I'm giddy about. We got that update from Coinbase regarding client diversity. Now, of course, we all knew that Coinbase was going to give us an update by the end of February. And if they didn't, we were going to get our pitchforks out and we were going to march on the Coinbase's offices and force them to give an update. But no, we don't need to do that. They have put out an update today that you can check out the full thread for. I'll link it in the YouTube description below. But really, the heart of the update is that over the next month, Coinbase plans to migrate roughly half of their validators to Nethermind, and long-term, they intend to evenly distribute between Geth, Nethermind, and Aragon, which means basically roughly a 33% share between them. This is massive, guys. Like, this is absolutely massive. As I've said before, Coinbase has such a large market share of validators that them changing over to even just 50% Nethermind or 50% non-Geth is a really, really big deal. And Nixo actually did the math on this. I've got I've got it open here, where she said that of known entities, Coinbase's shift by the end of March to 50-50 Geth and Nethermind gets us below 66%. However, since not all entities have reported, we could still potentially be at 70% if all non-reporting entities are 100% Geth. This is great progress, but we have more to go. So yeah, if we go off the reporting entities and assume that no one else is running 100% Geth, then we are going to be below that 66% threshold within the next month, which is obviously awesome. But even if all of those non-reporting entities are 100% Geth, we're at 70%, which isn't too much higher. So 66% is obviously the critical threshold that we want to get below. But even in the worst case scenario, we're only at 70%, which means that it's obviously much easier to get down. And Lido's working on this as well. I mean, Lido's made a lot of great progress here too. And Kiln Finance, actually, which is another large staker on the network, said that they're 50% of their validators, or 50.1% of their validators, are now running on Nethermind. So they're not running 100% Geth anymore. So guys, like, this is absolutely amazing progress. This is the social layer at work. This was literally done because we put pressure on these kind of like entities to do this. Yes, Coinbase probably had this in the works for quite a while, but I think when it came to timing, a little bit of pressure is fine, but it also started the trend. Kiln, a bunch of other services out there have now done it, and we are hopefully now, or when Coinbase does this within the next month, below that 66% threshold, and we can basically stop worrying about this. Well, stop worrying about it in the sense of, this is critical, let's do it now, and more of, okay, we're just going into like monitoring mode now. It's like, okay, let's make sure that it doesn't creep back up above 66%, which it really shouldn't, honestly, if all of these node operators stay the way they are. And then, as Coinbase said, they're planning to actually go to 33% Geth, which is going to be even better. But yeah, just wanted to give a huge shout out to everyone who worked on this within Coinbase. You guys are champions. I really love that this is happening, and the community thanks you for putting in, the work here and listening to all of the communities, I guess, like, I don't know if I'd call it annoying, kind of like berating on Twitter, but it's just great to see that there's movement here. And I guess like kudos to Coinbase for sticking to their promise. And, they put this out on February 29th, but hey, they stuck to their promise of the end of Feb, and they got an extra day, right? Because obviously it's a leap year. But yeah, guys, like I'm super excited about this, but I'll link that tweet thread, Nixo's tweet and Kiln's tweet in the YouTube description below for you to check out. All right, so onto some 4844 news. So the 4844 or EIP 4844 data challenge is now open. You can dive into Blob data, write a blog post with your findings, and win up to $30,000 in kind of prizes here. So the full details of this will be in the YouTube description below. But if this seems like something that's up your alley, if you're obsessed with data and you wanted to unpack blobs and 4844 style blobs and kind of activity, and so on and so forth, you can go into the running to earn up to $30,000 in prizes here. There is full details in the blog post of how to submit, the requirements, and the deadline is June 14th. So you have a while. The whole point of this is to basically get data once it's on mainnet and kind of analyze all of that data and then spit it out and kind of send it on to the Ethereum Foundation that's running this, and then they'll award people as they do this. Now, I know one person out there who is probably going to be all about this, and that's Dobby, who makes really, really great Dune Analytics dashboards for a wide variety of things. One of his dashboards that I show frequently on the Refuel is the ETH2 staking dashboard, so he's going to be all about this. So yeah, Dobby, if you're watching, and if you haven't seen this yet, I'm sure you have, but if you haven't, get on this, my friend. I want you to be part of this. I want you to win. But there are plenty of other great data analysts out there as well. So hopefully they join in on this and do this too. But yeah, if it sounds like something you're interested in, I'll link this in the YouTube description below for you to check out. All right, so today's the day that the Ethereum Investment Club 1 or Issue 1 is now live. So the link to this will be in the YouTube description below. I think it's in their bio, but I'll link it in the YouTube description below for you guys to get to. But I think I've highlighted this a bunch of times on the Refuel before because I am an advisor to the team behind this. I am not getting paid for this. I have basically foregone all of my advisor shares and told them to donate them to the Protocol Guild. But the reason why I agreed to be an advisor is because, one, I wanted to put my weight behind it, my name behind it, because that obviously gets more eyeballs on it. And two, I just think it's a really great initiative because with this magazine, with this kind of thing that they're doing kind of quarterly here, they're basically putting together a massive resource that you can actually send to really anyone. It's supposed to be accessible. It's not just supposed to be for like us ETH maxis and us crypto natives. It's supposed to be accessible to really anyone and it's supposed to be something that they can read and get a deep dive on everything that's happening within Ethereum. And I'm not just talking about layer 2s and staking and restaking and all the, the stuff that we really care about, but it's stuff beyond that more maybe appeals to the quote unquote normies, like the cultural stuff, right? The social stuff like Farcaster, the gaming stuff, like all this stuff that's been happening that is, I guess like on the surface non-speculative, but it does get speculative once you dive into it. That's a big part of this report. It's actually the meaty part of it. But also there's a lot of insights in there around, the things we all know and love, like ETH core development and staking and layer 2s and all that. So yeah, this is just great. And if you haven't checked this out yet, you can go do so. I'll link it in the YouTube description below. And I do want to correct something I said the other day. It's actually free to read this report. It's not a paid report, but there will be like NFTs you can mint and so on and so forth. And I think the NFT will give you access to a bunch of different perks and things like that. But the actual report itself is free to read, which is awesome because, as I said, it is a very comprehensive report that you're getting for free here. Like, that's just crazy to me. But yeah, just go check them out if you haven't yet. I'll link it in the YouTube description below. But yeah, you can read the first edition today. And then the second edition will obviously come out next quarter, but highly recommend checking this out for all of your, I guess, like insights into Ethereum. There's going to be stuff in here that you haven't seen before, definitely. There's a lot of stuff in there that I actually don't cover on the Refuel because a lot of it is, as I said, the cultural stuff that I don't not cover on the Refuel because like I don't like it. It's just that I try to keep the Refuel to a certain kind of topic or a certain set of topics. As you probably noticed, like it's very heavy on like ETH core development, layer 2s, staking, and a bunch of different kind of like apps, particularly within DeFi, maybe some social stuff like Farcaster. But I rarely cover NFTs and gaming and more of that kind of side of things. And that's really because I just don't pay much attention to it because I don't have time to. Like all this other stuff takes up my time. And I find that all the other stuff that I cover much more interesting personally. So that's just what I focus on. But if you wanted to get an insight into those things that I don't talk about, this is definitely the place to start. And then you can kind of deep dive from there, of course. So yeah, I'll link this in the YouTube description below. You can go check it out for yourself. All right, so EtherFi announced today that they have raised a massive $27 million round led by Bullish and Coin Fund. Now, I have to disclose, obviously, that I'm an advisor to EtherFi, and it is a compensated role. It is not like the ETH Investors Club where I'm foregoing my shares. It is a compensated role. Just wanted to advise that there. But yeah, $27 million is a massive round, guys, but it doesn't surprise me. What has surprised me is actually been the growth of a lot of these protocols like EtherFi and Swell and Puffer. Like EtherFi is at what? Over $1.5 billion TVL or something like that. And they're just getting started. They only launched a short while ago, right? They're just getting started with what they want to kind of do here, and they're bringing some real competition to Lido. And you guys know my whole thesis and my whole reason for supporting these protocols, because I am an advisor to Swell and Puffer and you know, a bunch of other things around Ethereum staking. My whole reason for supporting them is because I wanted to make the staking ecosystem more decentralized. I want to help with that in any way that I can, and that's what these protocols are doing. They're taking market share that would have gone to Lido or would have gone to Coinbase or would have gone to one of these other large centralized staking providers, and basically taking it in, decentralizing it by just being different to begin with, and then actually decentralizing it by following more of a rocket pool model rather than a Coinbase model of just like very centralized, or maybe a Lido model, where Lido doesn't get enough credit, honestly. I think that if Lido's market share wasn't 33%, they would actually get a lot more credit. I think that the fact that their market share is so large, people are not scared to give them credit, but like they kind of bite their tongue about it. I'm not one of those people. Like, I'll give them credit where it's due. Yes, they're too big right now, but hey, they have 36 node operators. They're planning to add, I think, another 200 to their set here. They are much better than just like one node operator. Like, I have to give credit to them for that, right? I can't just like ignore that. But I think people would be a lot happier if their market share was maybe below at least 20%, and then people would be more comfortable and be like, oh, okay, yeah, you know, Lido's relatively decentralized at the node operator level, but hey, the governance that sits on top is still problematic, but it's more problematic at 33% than it is at 20% than it is at 10%. So that's the kind of logic I think people follow there. But in the absence of that, and of obviously, and the reality that we live in where Lido is at 33%, we need to support all these other protocols that are taking market share away from them to prevent them from growing bigger, and to also vampire them, which is something that these protocols are doing, particularly Puffer, which is taking in all these ST8 and plans to vampire that eventually, along with a bunch of other protocols here. So yeah, it's all additive. It all kind of helps the ecosystem. It all helps to decentralize Ethereum staking. And I think investors are seeing that as well with this monster round. I mean, that's a huge round, guys. Like no matter which way you slice it, $27 million for a protocol that is not that old, really, is huge. And there's a lot of big name investors on here. Like you'll recognize a bunch of them. I'll link them. I mean, there's a lot of them on here, and there's a bunch of angels too. I'll link that in the YouTube description below. But yeah, I guess like just a huge congrats to the EtherFi team. I love working with them. They're true kind of like, I'm not going to say that they're ETH maxis, but like they're very Ethereum aligned. They understand what they want to do as a product and what they want to be. And they really deeply care about decentralizing Ethereum staking. So I'm just really glad to see that they have raised this money. But yeah, kudos to them once again on that. All right, so we have our first bit of, I guess you could say, accurate analysis on what the, I guess, price of blobs are going to be once they hit mainnet. Now, as you guys know, blobs are the new transaction type that are coming with EIP 4844. We have this great tweet thread from Michael Silberling today, who works in data at OP Labs, going through what the actual cost of blobs are going to be from at day one. So the TLDR is basically the blobs are going to be extremely cheap on day one. And he says here, we're basically 4 times growth away from the blob gas price being greater than 1 Gwei. Okay, let me put that into context for you guys. Mainnet price right now for call data, which is what these rollups use, is 71 Gwei. Like you can see it in my little extension up here. It's 71 Gwei. So let's just say it's 1 Gwei on these blobs. That's 71 times difference between the costs here. Now, that is a direct cost for a lot of these rollups. I mean, they're different. They're not all equal, but that is a direct cost saving for these rollups. Now, of course, this is probably going to be temporary. As I've said, like we're going to saturate these blobs because there's induced demand, and then we're going to just like add more blobs and increase the sizes of them. That's part of the whole kind of scaling roadmap there. But the fact that we have kind of like some pretty reliable data now that the blob gas price is basically going to be 0 on day one, not exactly 0, but it's basically going to be 0 on day one. I'm going to be very curious to see if we get like an initial surge of something like inscriptions spam or something, because that'll obviously alter things. Two, if we get that induced demand, which I think we will, but like how fast we get it, which drives the gas price up. Three, how high a blob gas price goes before people are clamoring to basically increase the size of blobs and the count of blobs in order to alleviate that. And four, what the actual net reduction will be for end user fees on the rollups themselves. Because like there is a 71, as I said, X difference here, but that doesn't not mean that there is going to be a 71X difference in fees. It doesn't mean that if you're paying a 70-cent fee today, you're going to be paying a 1-cent fee tomorrow. That's unfortunately not how it works. It's not a one-to-one mapping, but it does mean that there's going to be a significant reduction in fees across the board on rollups, at least over the short term or medium term, depending on how congested these blob things get, because blobs can be used by anything, not just rollups. They're purpose-built for rollups, but in a permissionless ecosystem, you can't stop other people from using them for things like inscriptions. So that might just be a short-term issue, because as I've said before, there's no point putting inscriptions into blobs since they expire. Like, it'd be better off them just putting it into core data, because core data doesn't expire, but core data is actually getting more expensive over time. So maybe it's best to do that now instead of waiting, because there is that EIP to increase the cost of core data now that we have blobs, obviously, for rollups here. And the core devs believe that core data is mispriced as well. But yeah, you can go read Michael's full thread here. For a full breakdown of this. There are assumptions baked into this, of course. It's not like an exact one-to-one. It's not going to be exactly like this. We're just going to have to wait and see what it kind of looks like on mainnet, which I've been saying for a long time now. Like, as I think I've been warning against kind of like putting any hard numbers on these things. And if you put hard numbers on them, make sure that you kind of like clarify them or kind of warn about them and say that they are based on a bunch of assumptions. And that's true for Michael's thread, as true it is for all of the assumptions that I've made, for all of the things that you've seen on Twitter. We just don't know for sure, but we will know very soon, because Denkun is what, a week and a half away or something like that. No, it's more than a week and a half. It's like a little under 2 weeks. I mean, I'm getting ahead of myself here, but yeah, March 13th, as you guys know there. But anyway, I'll chuck this in the YouTube description below for you to check out. Now, final thing before I end today's episode, because I actually have a few minutes here. I felt like that episode went longer than 30 minutes, but it turns out it's at 26 minutes and 30 seconds. So, a few minutes, just to go back to some of the market stuff that I was talking about. I do want to reiterate what I said. Please don't lose your head, guys. Like, I know it's very easy to lose your head right now. I know that I'm personally bull posting on Twitter. I mean, I bull post all the time, so I don't think that should be taken as any kind of like counter signal. But I know that I'm, very excited about things too, because I love seeing the price of ETH go up. Not because like of my bags, as you guys know, I'm not selling my ETH, so it doesn't really materially affect my kind of like wealth here. But I'm excited because it brings more activity, right? It brings more people into the ecosystem. It legitimizes the ecosystem more. Like, for better or worse, that's just the way these things work. But please don't lose your head. If you had sell targets before the bull market started, you had like a spreadsheet that you made, stick to it. I know that it hurts to sell and see things go up. I know that if you want to sell at, let's say, ETH goes to 10K and you sell there, and then ETH goes to 15K, I know that you're going to hurt. I know that you're going to do the math on what you could have made. But that is not the point. The point is that you need to DCA in and out, because you're never going to catch tops and bottoms, and you need to not look back once you've done it. And as I said before, and I spoke about this with Eric on the drive-through, I think that the easiest way to do this is to not set price targets. Like, I just gave price targets, sure, to not set portfolio targets. You set price targets. Like, that's very important. Sorry, I mixed that up there. Do not set portfolio targets. Set price targets to sell at, because if you set portfolio targets, that dictates the price target, and the price target is always going to be probably higher than otherwise would have been, because your portfolio target is higher than what the price can give you. Because if you have, like, let's say you've got 10 ETH, and at 10K, that's 100K, yeah. So if you sell 10 at 10K, it's 100K. But let's just say that you want to make $1 million. You're like, 100K, yeah, okay, it's a lot of money, but I want $1 million because I live in a Western nation and cost of living is really high, and I want to buy myself a house, and so on and so forth. Okay, so if you've got 10 ETH and you want $1 million, well, now the price of ETH needs to go to 100K for that to happen. And that's not going to happen this cycle. Long term, I actually do believe that ETH can get there, but that's not going to happen this cycle, guys. It's not going to happen anytime soon. So that's the danger of anchoring to a portfolio target, is that you're waiting. So don't do that. Choose prices that you want to sell at based on whatever intuitions you have, or based on whatever analysis you have. Then take profits. And then don't look back. Don't analyze what could have been, coulda, shoulda, woulda. It doesn't matter, because you sold, you took the profits, you're happy with your profits, and that's it. That's all that really matters. And also, I spoke about this with Eric as well. Another important factor is that just keep in mind what you're selling for. Are you selling to buy something? Like, are you buying a new car? Are you putting a deposit on a house? Are you buying a house outright? Maybe you made it and you're buying a house outright, right? So, or are you just selling because you feel like the market's overheated and you want to buy back in later? There's a world of difference between those things. The former is selling to buy something tangible. The latter is basically trading. And there's nothing wrong with either side there, but you have to decide this before you actually do it. And ideally as long before you actually do it, and then stick to that. Sticking to the plan is probably the hardest bit. Getting your mindset right is probably the hardest bit. And you should have been doing this a while ago. Doing it now is going to be harder because the market's gone crazy. You're not thinking as straight as you once were. You should have been doing this like probably a year ago. And I think I mentioned this a year ago, right? That this is how I kind of think about things. And I did it a year ago. Like, you guys know that I said multiple times, I'm not selling my ETH, but I have a bunch of other things that I'll probably take profits on. I did that a year ago. Like, I literally looked at them and I'm like, okay, I'm sitting down, putting my spreadsheets together. These are my kind of targets here. I'm not going to publicize those. I haven't actually said what assets that I'm going to be selling or holding. I don't even want to mention them because I don't want to shield them or anything like that. But when it comes to ETH, I know a lot of you guys aren't obviously like me. You want to hold ETH long term, but at the same time, if the things get crazy and you want to take some profits and buy something with them, then you should do that. You shouldn't just hold it because you love ETH. Like, that's not an option for people if that's all you've got. Like, if you've got other things that you can sell and then maybe you can just hold your ETH and weather the storms, then fine, cool. But I know and realize that most people don't have that option. And there's nothing wrong with not having that option. Like, you invest in markets to make money. You don't invest for altruistic reasons. Like, so yeah. I know I'm ranting a little bit here, but I really want to get this through to you guys. Like, please, please, please keep your heads on. Things are going to get crazier from here. Things are going to get just absolutely dumb. Like, just the stupidest shit is going to pump. You're going to get FOMO. You just need to be calm, be collected, and make sure that you're thinking things through as logically as possible and not making kind of FOMO trades here and there, because I guarantee you that you will regret it if you do that. And I speak from experience, of course. But anyway, enough on that. I think that's going to be it for today. So thank you everyone for listening and watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the newsletter, join the Discord channel, and I'll catch you all tomorrow. Thanks everyone.